News bulletin for the day. This is News 360 with Kwesiasari
and Portia Gabo. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Gunmen kill 57-year-old man at Binduri in the Upper East region.
Coalition of domestic election observers and two other civil society organizations call for resignation of two recently appointed Electoral Commission board members over political affiliations.
Also in the bulletin tonight, a Sawasi Member of Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, to face competition after contesting unopposed in 3 consecutive NDC primaries.
In business news, World Bank downgrades Ghana's growth forecast for 2023 amid global uncertainties, according to latest Pulse Africa report.
And elsewhere on the international front, half-brother of Togo's president, Faure Gnassingbé, in prison since 2009 over a failed coup attempt, evacuated to Gabon because of his deteriorating health. We've got details of all these stories, plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, on Instagram, and post a comment. We promise to share them with the rest of the world. Let's begin with election matters, where the coalition of election observers, CODEO, Star Ghana, and the Civic Forum Initiative are calling for the resignation of Dr. Apiahene and Salima Ahmed Tijani as members of the Electoral Commission Board. According to the 3 civil society organizations, allegations of their political ties with the governing New Patriotic Party could jeopardize the confidence that the electorate have in the Electoral Commission.
The new appointees, Dr. Peter Apiahene, Madam Salima Ahmed Tijani, and Reverend Ikia Ofori-Boateng, were sworn in on March to serve on the Electoral Commission Board. Dr. Peter Apiahene was among candidates shortlisted for the Bono Regional Minister position. Madam Salima Ahmed Tijani is married to one Sheikh Tibi Damba, a leading member of the NPP, who was formerly the second national vice chairman of the party and served as Ghana's ambassador to Saudi Arabia from 2017 to 2021. Her mother, Hajia Samata Gifty Bukhari, was the first elected first vice chairperson of the NPP in the northern region, while her sister, Hajia Abibata Shani Mahama Zakaria, who is currently the CEO of Maslok, contested the 2020 NPP primaries for the Yendi constituency and has already publicly announced her intention to contest again for the same seat in 2024. These conflict of interest concerns have been raised by critics.
When you decide to appoint anyone to play any crucial or critical role as it pertains to the Electoral Commission, and that person is politically tainted and not neutral, that individual further enhances the doubts that opposition parties from time to time would have with the Electoral Commission.
There are some institutions that we call them independent bodies, but this current president have decided to desecrate all these independent institutions, including the Electoral Commission.
For former president and flag-bearer hopeful of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, it's about time the constitution is amended to avert such situations.
The appointment of known party activists onto the Electoral Commission by our current president may require an amendment of Article 43(2) to provide for parliamentary approval of new commissioners appointed onto the commission.
The latest to wade in are the civil society organizations, the Coalition of Election Observers, CODEO, Star Ghana, and Civic Forum Initiative.
In 2019, trust in the commission dropped to 21%, and in 2022, the most recent survey, public trust in the EC dropped to an all-time low of 10%. Trust in the EC is too important for our democratic and social peace and stability for it to remain this low or get worse. Building and sustaining trust and confidence in an election management body is a delicate business. We accordingly call on Dr. Peter Apiahin and Hajia Salima Ahmed Tijani to do the honorable thing and resign.
The group is calling for a constitutional amendment to ensure a more transparent, inclusive process.
In filling a vacancy on the EC and other independent constitutional bodies, the President, acting in his role as head of state, propose and make public the names and biographical information of candidates to be considered by the Council of State. The President should consult key stakeholders, including political parties represented in Parliament, in coming up with the list of candidates to be submitted to the Council of State. The Council should then invite...
Well, these are legitimate concerns, and you know, we're way before these CSOs and CODEO spoke, some of us are taking issues of the caliber of people who have been appointed to the commission. We teach independence of institutions, and one of the mechanisms for achieving independence of institutions is to look at the mode of appointing people into such institutions. Whether we like it or not, somebody by all means will have to appoint somebody. But there must also always be some measures put in place to ensure that the appointment, the power of appointment is done first with recourse to meritocracy. Number one, the power of appointment must be done in a manner with recourse to meritocracy. Now, if I say so, you ask yourself, what is the track record? You know, what merited or warranted the appointment of these people into the election management body? I worked with Jim Mensah for 14 years, and within that 14 years, a period of 10 years, we worked on the Ghana Political Parties program, a program that sets up a dialogue platform for political parties to discuss issues of national interest in an apolitical manner. We did this for 10 years, and so if you tell me that Jim Mensah has been appointed the chair of the Electoral Commission, even though some people are doubting whether she's merited, I would say I support that, and I supported that. You recall that I was among the few Ghanaians who went defending the appointment. Why? Because she has had a track record dealing with political parties and bringing them together. She's had a track record. I worked with her so many occasions to submit proposals of electoral reforms to the Electoral Commission, and so the track record is there. But I look at the background of these people and search about them, and I don't see any track record that they have in the area of administration, election reforms, and all that. I don't see their track record, and so the appointment power was exercised without taking cognizance of the fact of merit appointment of the position order. Second, given that these appointees are going to be working as independent arbiters, they are not supposed to be seen as partisan politicians. Now, Patrick, you know the difference between doing politics and then doing partisan politics. Aristotle has argued that man is by nature a political animal, and so you cannot strip man of politics. Then he doesn't become a human being. But if Mark Weber tells you that a public servant or a public official working in a supposedly independent institution is not supposed to do partisan politics, he's not saying he shouldn't vote. He's not saying he shouldn't do politics. But he's saying that you should not be openly seen to have identified with one political party or the other. He had campaigning for a political party. You are not supposed to be opposing a political party. You are not supposed to be seen wearing party t-shirts, party shoes, and adorning yourself in party paraphernalia or being found at political party rallies. If you do that, it means you are doing partisan politics. Now, unfortunately for some of the appointees, they are seen as partisan appointees, or they've done partisan politics. And so if that happens, it becomes difficult for you to staff independent institutions with set appointees. If you do that, then it means you are feeding into, or you are deepening the trust deficit and the legitimacy deficit of these institutions. But unfortunately, the president, who was bent on doing this, even right at the word go, said that elections are about those who vote and not those who count.
And that's where I come in, Professor Jampo, that some have said that you cannot fault the president necessarily because what he's done is only to exercise his prerogative under the Constitution. And so moving forward, the cure to this supposed mischief will be to try and make amendments to the Constitution.
No, you see, the Constitution can never be a perfect document. If you go to America, they have a Constitution, a well-codified document that serves gives a blueprint for the political administration of their country. If you go to UK, they have unwritten constitutions to operate essentially customs and conventions and all that. These are all not perfect documents. Okay, so you would always have problems with the Constitution. The problem, but what you have to do or working with the Constitution depends on whoever is interpreting and whoever is working with it. So the Constitution will always have difficulty, but in trying to operate the Constitution, we must have people who mean well, and we must have people who are patriotic, and we must have people who will not exploit the disadvantages and dangers of the Constitution to their own advantage. And I'm saying that even though the president has the power to appoint, I think in consultation with the Council of State, I think this particular appointment power has been exercised in a manner without recourse to meritocracy, and has also been exercised in a manner that snubbed or disregarded the need for us to shore up the independence of our election management body. And
I hear you, Prof. Jampo, and that's where my final question comes in. Based on this very latest advice coming in from CODEO and the CSOs, do you, in all honesty, expect these appointees to follow through and resign?
No. First of all, we know that there's no way the president is going to rescind his decision. And then secondly, you know that the culture of resignation is not ingrained in the psyche of the typical public servant in Ghana. And so even though they have made the calls that these appointees possibly should resign, that recommendation amounts to merely romancing a stone. Nothing is going to happen. The president will not rescind his decision. These appointees will not resign because basically the culture of resignation is not ingrained in the psyche of the typical, public servant in Ghana.
Professor Jampo, I've got to say a big thank you to you. Thanks for joining us here on News 360. Professor Jampo is a political science lecturer and also a political historian.
Let's continue with the rest of our stories. To the camp of the NDC, and heavy security was deployed at the premises of the Ashanti Regional NDC party office when they got to the turn of the Asawasi constituency to go through the vetting process for the parliamentary primaries. With a charged atmosphere, the incumbent Muntaka Mubarak and his contender Masawud Mubarak stormed the vetting center with hundreds of supporters.
Anticipating a chaotic scene, Security was beefed up at the vetting grounds even before the aspirants and their supporters arrived. The entry of the Asawasi MP, Muntaka Mubarak, and his contender, Masaudu Mubarak, led to a tensed atmosphere. In less than 30 minutes, both aspirants had successfully gone through the vetting process. For the first time in many years, Muntaka will face a competition in the primaries.
They say elections are never over and it is over. But I can assure you that we are working very hard to make sure that this is just a minor challenge about primaries. The main is the 2024 election. My prayer is that when it is over, we need to unite and make sure that we retain Aswanzi in a very decisive way. We should make sure that we don't fracture Aswanzi, because Aswanzi is the heart of NDC in Asante region, and we must do everything to protect that.
Masaudu, who missed the opportunity to contest the MP in the last elections, is confident of causing an upset.
I believe that democracy has triumphed today. What happened previously was undemocratic. Today, I have been able to have an incidence-free vetting. If you look at what is happening within the constituency, we are pained that there hasn't been much progress in terms of the human development element of development within the constituency. So overall, we are very, very much enthusiastic about our chances, and we believe that inshallah victory is assured.
The division among NDC constituency executives in Asawasi appear to have deepened, as some of the executives are in the camp of Masaudu, whilst others are in the camp of Muntaka. In Edra, 4 people, including the constituency chairman, are contesting the incumbent MP, Bawa Brahma.
Contest is good. If there's a contest, it gives you the opportunity to go around to assess your weaknesses and your strengths. And I've assessed my weaknesses, I've assessed my strengths, and I tell you, come 13th May 2023, I'm going to clinch over 1,000 votes and leave the rest for the 4 of them to share.
At the end, all the 85 aspirants vetted were cleared to contest.
For the records, there were no disqualifications whatsoever. I mentioned earlier that there were 5 petitions. The vetting committee sat on sale and we cleared the candidates on the guidelines that were provided for us. So there were no disqualifications.
Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Meanwhile, here in Accra, the National Democratic Congress says it is scrutinizing the nomination forms of all 3 parliamentary aspirants of the Yawaso West Wogon constituency. John Domelo, Fred Nyama and Moses Achampon filed their nominations online, but the party says it has identified some anomalies in their documents which require further attention. Christian Yale, my colleague, reports.
It is unclear when John Domelo, Fred Nyama and Moses Achampon will be vetted as the exercise ends on Wednesday, April 5. The nomination forms of all 3 aspirants are being scrutinized.
So according to the Greater Accra Secretary of the NDC, Theophilus Setachai, the mode of filing of the nomination by John Domelo and Fred Nyama were a little bit problematic. He says there were a number of anomalies that need to be investigated before the party can find a suitable date to vet them.
Filing on the last day, there were some challenges. And we are looking at the documentations because the filing was done online. And the online filing has certain features on the documents. And if you look at the 2 candidates, there is some form of anomaly. Although they claim to go through the process. They had challenges with going onto the system to use their bank card to do the filing.
Aside from this, the party has also cited some internal issues it is trying to resolve. The Ayawaso West Wogon constituency has attracted huge interest.
Our national leadership is investigating the matter so that they will in turn give us a true state of affairs. Because we are not handling the system. We are not handling the system. They are handling the system. So they are better placed to advise us as to what direction to take. And once the advice comes, we will call the constituency and then have their vetting done.
John Dumelo in the 2020 elections increased votes of the NDC in the constituency. He is seeking to contest the seat again, but this time in what promises to be a strong contest between him and Fred Nuama. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's now go to the Upper East region, where a 57-year-old man has been shot dead at his residence at Gumyoko near Bazua in the Binduri district of the Upper East region. According to an eyewitness, 2 gunmen stormed the home of the deceased and opened fire on him, killing him instantly. The gunmen reportedly sneaked out of the house right after the incident. Let's speak to the Binduri District Chief Executive Yakubu Ayinga, and he has joined us on phone. Thank you so much for your time. What more information can you give us about this unfortunate incident?
Thank you very much. Good evening and good evening to your listeners. Actually, in the afternoon around 1:30, I was in my office and had a call that some incident happened at Gumyoko, which I called the security and rushed to the scene. And actually, before I got there, the assailants flew away. They actually came and did the killing, and then they ran away. And actually, the security came and met me there. And according to the family, the man, Tairu Guma, 57 years of age, I think that today is a Boku market day. So we have a small market called Bazua Market in the Binduri district. So the man went there to barber his head. After barbering the head, he came back because he's fasting, and then he was just relaxing at in the house there. When the people came there, according to the family, there were 4 people on 2 motorbikes. When they came, there was no any sign of provocation, and they fired him and then took off.
Have perpetrators been arrested?
Actually, we have, before we got there, they already left the scene.
What
so
is
the security are investigating to see whether they can get the suspects.
Okay. Would you say this is just an isolated incident, or it tells what is actually happening in the community? I'm talking about the security situation in the community.
Come again?
I was asking whether this is just an isolated incident or it tells us about the security situation in the district.
No, please. This is a very different. It has no link with what is happening in Bo.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And Yakubu Ayinga is the Binduri District Chief Executive.
Thank you.
All right, Portia. Now, the Ghana Armed Forces has refuted allegations by Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Sam George that the Army could not provide security escort for the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defence and Interior when they embarked on a mission to Boku. Now, according to the Member of Parliament, the security situation in Boku should not be beyond the armed forces to handle.
The Ningo Pram Member of Parliament queried why the Ghana Armed Forces could not provide security to the Parliamentary Committee on Defence and Interior when they had planned to visit Boku.
Mr. Speaker set up a committee and asked the Intelligence Committee to go to Boku, led by the chairman, Kennedy Ohini Ejipon. They were supposed to be met in Tamale by a team of military officers to escort them and provide them escort from Tamale. Then when they get to Boku, the military was supposed to provide them a security cordon for them to go and talk to both sides. You could not provide security for James Agalga and Kennedy Ejipon and the rest of their teams, Anato and Co. Yet you have the military going to Ashama and beating everybody and making them drink gutter water. They are doing themselves, showing themselves as King Kong there. If you are strong, the boys in Boku are misbehaving. Go there and deal with them.
He wondered why the military cannot deal with the Boko conflict.
If you know how much of our taxpayers' money is being used in the name of military presence and police presence in Boku, and yet what is happening is happening. Look, you've got police. Then you've got the police CID, which is the intelligence unit of the police, or police intelligence there. You've got the military. You've got defense intelligence there. You've got NIB, National Intelligence Bureau, formerly BNI. It's happening on a daily, weekly basis. The media is not reporting it. Boku needs to become a national conversation. And you're asking yourself, all of the intelligence in town, what are they doing? Our security setup has failed.
But PRO of the Ghana Armed Forces Naval Captain Michael Lauby in an interview said the army had provided security for, but the committee changed its decision based on intelligence received from the Regional Security Council.
It is not true that the military wasn't there to provide the necessary escort or the protection for the committee. As you go to any conflict-prone area, the first thing you get is a security brief of the situation on the ground. And that was given to the committee in Tamale. So the decision for the committee not to proceed to Boku was not because the military wasn't there to provide them the necessary security. They were deployed, they were ready. And I believe the Boku Municipal Security Council and the Upper East Regional Security Council had all given indications that they were prepared to receive the committee, but the trip was cancelled at the last minute. So it is not the situation that the military wasn't in a position to provide them the necessary security and escort to Boku.
In more news tonight, the Trades Union Congress has called on President Akufo-Addo to intervene and resolve the ongoing issues at Sunon Asoglipa Ghana Limited, or the TUC will picket at the premises of the company in the next 5 working days. Management of the company has dismissed 3 union leaders for joining the Ghana Mine Workers Union. Deputy Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, spoke with our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoku, in Accra.
We are calling the president, we are calling on the ministers, we are calling of all the stakeholders who are in charge of that to ensure that this matter is brought to rest, is brought to conclusion amicably, so that we can have our industrial representative record. Otherwise, they will not see peace, and we also continue to do whatever action that we plan to do. The Public Order Act says that if you want to picket, it's 5 days. If you want to go on strike or demonstration, it's 7 days. So we will explore all those avenues and act accordingly. You will not go to court. This is our right. Labour Commission is the rightful person to go to court. They have instructed that the union was legally formed and management should go and do the right thing. It's like they are not respecting the rules and the directives by the Labour Commission. And I think that unions like organized labour, like TUC, like all organized labour associations in Ghana, so far as they are leading workers, should not sit down and look on. Just this afternoon, unfortunately, what the news coming from Sunyani, one of the timber companies, that a Chinese managing director has pointed a gun at a deputy general secretary of the timber workers, in Sunyani, as I speak to you now. If you continue to look on this, one day all of us will be heard. But we don't think that we can contain such behaviors in this our country. So we are calling our president to look sharp on some of these issues. Otherwise, this country will not see peace.
A reminder, you're still watching our major news bulletin for the day. This is News 360. We're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. We're going to go for a quick break. When we return, we've got the very latest in the world of business.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
The sweet scent of rose in the morning brings me so much joy. Inspired by damask rose and infused with 100% natural rose oil. Introducing new Clay Soft Perfume Beads Washing Powder. It's like bringing a garden with you everywhere with this wonderful perfume. Take a garden with you everywhere you go with Clay Soft Perfume Beads Washing Powder.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.
Right, welcome to the business news segment here on News 360. Now, the World Bank has lowered Ghana's growth rate to below 2% in 2023 in their latest Africa's Pulse report, highlighting global uncertainties and increased macroeconomic instability as the causes. There's more in the following News Desk report.
The latest World Bank Africa's Pulse report has revealed dampened growth and rising debt levels across sub-Saharan Africa. Economic growth is set to slow from 3.6% in 2022 to 3.1% in 2023, with Ghana's growth rate decreased to below 2% in 2023, placing the country at 29th position among sub-Saharan countries. The Bretton Woods institution blames the decreased growth rate on global shocks and heightened macroeconomic instability. It is reported that the Ghanaian economy has been struggling with increased public debt and inflation fueled by sharp depreciation of the cedi. Risks of debt distress remain high, and very high inflation and low investment growth continue to constrain African economies. Inflation is set to remain high at 7.5% for 2023 and above the central bank target bands for most countries. According to the report, policymakers need to redouble efforts to curb inflation, boost domestic resource mobilization, and enact pro-growth reforms while continuing to help the poorest households cope with the rising costs of living.
Away from the Pulse report, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfred Bokwin, wants government to take a relook at expenditure cuts to enable the country close its funding gap if it really wants to have a successful IMF program. He says the only way to close the funding gap is to get Ghana's bilateral and multilateral partners to commit to debt forgiveness or fresh funding to secure the 3-year deal. He spoke at the sidelines of the 3 Business Sustainability Summit in Accra.
The IMF is saying that the funding gap is such that approving the program will not be effective because the funding gap in the 2023 budget alone is over $5 billion. The IMF will give you $3 billion over 3 years. And if the gap for this year alone is $5 billion, it means that the program can only achieve limited effectiveness. That is where the real issue is. In closing the gap, you can look within. Domestic, we look at debt exchange. You can close the gap not only by increasing revenue, but you can also look at expenditure cut. And what surprises everybody is that government's unwillingness to cut expenditure tells you that leadership doesn't want to respond appropriately. Leadership wants to get away whilst it burden the system.
Elsewhere, a policy and tax analyst, Dr. Alex Ampabin, has suggested that government pursues a sustainable revenue mobilization, which is in line with prudent expenditure to avoid the recurrence of the current economic crisis. He notes that borrowing to fund consumption expenditures has been the major driver for the country's economic downturn.
Policy and tax analyst Dr. Alex Ampabin's view is how the country needs to borrow responsibly.
Definitely we are going to continue to borrow, and even the likes of Japan and America keep borrowing. I think one is about where we invest the money. We don't borrow to fund consumption expenditure. You borrow to fund expenditures that will take care of themselves later to do the repayment.
Interest payments on Ghana's debt consume 44% of the country's revenue. Tax revenue contributes below 13% to the country's gross domestic product. Since independence, the country has found it difficult to manage its debt. How can the cycle be broken in order for the country to have some fiscal space?
We can no longer repay our debt. Now pensioners have to even forgo their money. And it's dawned on us all to face the reality and say we are in bad times, and therefore it is time for us to consider cutting heavily on expenditure. We borrow because of our fiscal gap. There are two ways you can close the fiscal gap. Either you increase your revenue or you cut your expenditure. And until we pursue an aggressive expenditure cut, until we pursue sustainable revenue which is married with reasonable expenditure, in fact, even the IMF building in Ghana will not change anything. What we need is fiscal discipline.
There is the need for efficient procurement systems and efficient government agencies. 85% of the country's procurements are restricted or sole-sourced. This makes up 35% restricted and 50% sole-sourced, according to ASEP.
A reminder, you're still watching the business news segment here on News 360. Now, many consumers of financial products and services remain oblivious of the risk or benefits of the products they use. Talk about Ponzi schemes, Piram, R5, US Tilapia, and many others. In this light, the Finance Ministry, in collaboration with other financial regulators, have launched a financial education campaign to build the capacity of consumers to make more informed financial decisions.
Ghana's financial information penetration has witnessed steady growth within the financial sector. A survey conducted in 2010 showed financial penetration at the rate of 41%. This figure moved from 58% in 2015 to 95% in 2023. Despite the growth margins in financial penetration, many consumers still lack the capability in equipping themselves with knowledge on some products and services. Launching the financial education campaign, Deputy Finance Minister Abinel Sayasare entreated consumers to be extra vigilant on financial matters.
How capable are we to make informed decisions when it comes to our finances? So this is what the campaign is about. We launched it today. It's been translated into about 11 languages, and there will be town hall meetings and engagements in all the 16 regions to make sure we bring the knowledge of financial information to everybody, so that when anybody at all is making decisions on their financing, they'll be well informed.
The campaign aims at fostering the capacity of Ghanaians to make informed financial decisions. Patience Akoboham is the chairperson of the Financial Education Multitasking Stakeholder Committee.
And that is what these schemes would promise. It will give you 100% return. And you should ask yourself, is it feasible? Where are they going to get the money to pay you? And so, yes, we are going to emphasize on Ponzi schemes, the operations of Ponzi schemes, characteristics of Ponzi schemes, and other things to enable them to know and then move away from that.
Elsewhere, Compute Ghana has opened another IT and home appliance retail outlet. The new airport residential branch is the second largest of all its facilities.
The new airport residential branch adds to the 14 branches across the country.
The facility provides a serene environment for customers.
So far is the nicest shop you can ever see in the town regarding IT, regarding phones, regarding everything we are selling. Here we have the laptop sections, the IT, the printers, desktops, we have small appliances. We are now opening a new section which is responsible for CCTV, for the security, for this one, which is running, it will be booming. We are opening also a big shop for it. This is a hit for you.
He indicated that the company will continue to offer quality IT products and appliances to customers while giving them an amazing shopping experience.
We are working on our to improve our customer service, which is good to make it much better. Our core of business is our customers, so we are trying to make them always satisfied. So anyone is coming, our products, there is a warranty on it. Our products, there is after-sales service. If your warranty is finished, we can take care of your stuff. Our people is here to help anyone.
The new retail outlet is now open to customers.
Well, that's it for the very latest in the world of business. For more business news stories, you know where to go. Just visit our website. It's www.3news.com. Stand by now for the very latest in the world of sports.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Pascal's showing his boss the efficient new technology they've installed. She is pleased, but now she's asking, why is that still there? Pascal explains that the wells can store many, many messages. The boss is not so pleased anymore. If you haven't upgraded your contact center yet, it's time to get business done better with MTN Business.
This is the breaking news. About 2,500 people 2,500 people have been.
We'll be right back after a commercial break.
When stubborn coughs, colds, and catarrh interrupt your life, get fast relief with Stop Cough. The Stop Cough range is suitable for adults, children, and babies.
In today's breaking news, Alex is back and...
There is a Stop Cough for every cough and for everyone.
There surely is.
Ask your pharmacist about the right Stop Cough for you. The Stop Cough range is manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
And Thierry Nyan is here for the latest in the world of sports and talking about comebacks. Who is likely to come back?
Well, this is not the kind of comeback that Chelsea fans are looking for at all.
Are you kidding me? Don't tell me Frank Lampard is coming back to Chelsea.
How did you know that?
Are you kidding
Yes,
me?
he is. And so we'll get into the details right here
Thierry.
on News 360. My name is Thierry Nyan and it's time for the sports. Now, Chelsea have open talks and are quite advanced with those talks with Frank Lampard over a stunning return as interim manager as they continue to search for a permanent replacement for Graham Potter. Chelsea are progressing their hunt for a longer-term solution by holding discussions in London with Luis Enrique, who is vying with Julian Nagelsmann for the job, but it would suit the club to have a more experienced interim manager than Bruno Salter, who was put in charge after Potter's departure on Sunday. And Lampard could be in the dugouts for Saturday's game at Wolverhampton Wanderers if talks go smoothly. Lampard attended Chelsea's goalless draw with Liverpool on Tuesday and has been out of work since being sacked by Everton in January. Now, still in England, nearly 900 Liverpool fans who attended last year's Champions League final in Paris have filed legal action against European soccer's governing body for outside the stadium. Law firm Leyday filed a lawsuit against UEFA and UEFA Events on Monday, according to publicly available records of cases brought at the High Court. The firm told Reuters it has issued claims on behalf of 887 individuals and has a total of 1,076 clients. Two other law firms, that's Pugust Goodhead and Liverpool-based Bingham's solicitors, said last year that they also represent Liverpool fans who intend to sue UEFA. Now, tonight on GPL Express, the focus is on Great Olympics and their struggles this season. Despite the flaws, head coach Bismarck Kobi-Mensah is looking at reshaping the club's fortunes, starting from the trip to Aduana FC on week 26.
Well, Coach, the next step or the next game is against Aduana Stars. I know you've already spoken about it, but do you think that will be the major changing point or fulcrum with which Great Olympic survival will be cemented?
In fact, playing Aduana, even in our class position, is a very difficult game. They are a very good team with a very good coach, but I am saying that they have more advantage playing at home than maybe Abraham Kessie or whatever. So it's a bit in our advantage that they are not playing in Aduana. So going to Aduana, in fact, for us to get results, we need to prepare very well. In fact, we need to go and play above ourselves for us to even think of getting result from that game. So, and that is what we want to do. And if you see the preparation from now, you have about 10, 11 days to the game. We are preparing very well to make sure that at least we go and get a very good result from the game. But still, it's not going to be easy for us, I know, because we don't have a very good squad and mature squad.
Would you say that this break, Easter break, gives you that opportunity without Ghana Premier League football to right the wrongs that you've seen in the team?
Exactly. I'm very happy for the off days for the Premier League, so that we can take them through all those areas that I think we are lacking. I believe that by next week Saturday we'll be ready for the Aduana game.
All right, so that is it there. But there are some games currently happening, and let me just walk you through some of the important score lines as it is, because no results so far. In Germany, in the DFB Pokal, RB Leipzig are leading Dortmund by a goal to nil. In the English Premier League, though, Manchester United have taken the lead over their rivals Brentford. Newcastle United also winning by 2-1 away from home. And then the El Clasico happening also has Real Madrid taking the lead against Barcelona. So those are some of the score lines as it is. We'll bring you the results and, of course, what it means later right here on TV3. My name is Theo Nyan. Thanks for staying with me here on the Sports on News 360. Entertainment follows this one.
Magic pepper and onion, a delicious tomato mix with tomato, pepper and onion. No grinding, no blending. Ya yin da da da. So pa mediane no abe.
Come on, Gino, do your magic.
And papa no kunu abe fi.
Tasty magic.
Gino Magic Pepper and Onion. The magic that brings them home.
This advert is FDA approved.
Every child is so unique.
You like no other.
Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play.
You like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other.
as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook, I can paint. You like no other. Indomie, you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
Introducing Indomie beef flavor. Buy now.
This advert is FDA approved.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Time now for the very latest in the world of entertainment. And guess who's gazing at me?
They can clearly see me. They don't need to guess.
No,
They don't need to guess, Patricia.
Oh, so we're actually seeing you?
Exactly.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
I like your new hairstyle,
Thank
actually.
you very much, Patricia.
It's for the holidays?
No, it's not.
Well, what do you have for us for entertainment?
We've got quite a number of stories, so let's just get straight into the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella. Now, for our first story, the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Dr. Mohamed Awal, has said that the campaign to make Ghana the #1 tourism destination in Africa yielded a lot of positives in the year under review. Now, speaking at the launch of the 2022 tourism report, he noted the country recorded some 91,500 tourism arrivals and targeting 1.2 million arrivals this year. Since 2019, when the Beyond the Return and December Ghana initiative was launched, there has been a major increase in international tourist arrivals. From 600,000 arrivals in 2021 to 915,000 in 2022, the Ghana Tourism Authority has targeted an ambitious increase in arrivals to 1.2 million by the close of 2023.
About almost 915,000 international tourist arrivals in 2022. Each tourist spends over $2,700. So if you multiply it, you see that we're getting to over 2. So, and then they stay an average of 10 days. So in 2023 and beyond, our plan is to ensure that we get 1.2 for this year, million arrivals, and each tourist spend not less than $3,000, and they stay like 12 to 14 days.
Speaking at the 2022 tourism report, Dr. Mohamed Awal said government is stepping up its game to engaging key stakeholders to achieve its targets.
We are doing a lot of attraction to some of the forts and castles and developing new areas. But tourism is not only about structures. It's all about food, about leisure, about entertainment, about music. We are developing the creative sector so that when they come, they have a lot of entertainment. The more creative sector you have, the more opportunities you have, the more tourists stay and spend money. A satisfied tourists will not only come back with family and friends, will come and stay longer and spend money. That's why we're trying to say that our medium-term plan over the next 3-4 years is to make sure that we get 2 million tourists arrive internationally. And then if each of them spend about 3,200, we'll get over $6 billion for the economy. We also want to create 150,000 jobs every year. Tourism is a second. Now on to some more stories. There is some great news for all the movie enthusiasts hoping to catch the latest Ghanaian movie. Now, Taste of Sin, a religious movie that features the creme de la creme of Ghanaian movie stars, including screen goddess Jackie Appiah, will be premiered at the Silverbird Cinemas on Friday. Now, guess what? The General Overseer of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Duncan Williams, made a special appearance on a Taste of Sin movie.
But I think you've done a fantastic job at that.
Thank you.
And also as a producer of movies, this is not your first movie that you've executively produced. How many movies have you done so far?
So my first movie was 2005.
Wow.
Yes. And so with this movie, I collaborated with Dominion TV.
Yeah. A Taste of Sin.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so A Taste of Sin is a faith story, like I said. It's a religious story that talks about God. You know, sometimes people would call you, look at her, the things they will call you with, they are worse in their corners.
Yeah.
But because nobody sees them, they think they are okay. And so, so that I don't say the whole of the story, you need to come to the Silverbirds on the 7th.
Okay.
That's on Friday to watch a taste of sin, and you won't leave the same. It's a beautiful story. It's unique. It's different. It's not a normal Christian stories that we tell that people will say, oh, maybe it's boring. No, it's stories that anybody, every religion can relate to.
And the Archbishop is in the film.
Oh, he's in the
Yes,
film. So what role did you play?
I played the wife of a pastor.
Hey.
Yes.
I
So
see.
James Gardner played the pastor,
Okay.
my husband in the film.
Mm.
Majid
Okay.
is in the film.
Okay.
Did I mention Kalsum Sinari?
No, you're not mentioning it. You're not.
Well, do make a day to catch the full interview on the Day Show with Bellamundi. Now, winner of Mental X and VGME Unsung nominee DSL featured dancehall sensation LaRusso on his newest jam titled Happy. Now, the party tune is expected to drop this Thursday, April 6th.
So that tune is Happy, featuring LaRusso.
What's the inspiration behind this song? For the people to jam to?
Yeah, for the people to jam to. And you should know, none of us here is promised tomorrow. I just here. You there here today, you don't know when you go move. Yeah. So yes, sir, happy yourself. The song come out, you go listen.
Yeah,
happy day, we happy. We living it all up today. Nobody knows tomorrow. Also be that one dancehall artist, I feel so much. I know so many people can fit in. So many people fit in, but I just feel like you, LaRusso for the tough.
Happy day, we happy. We live in it all up today. Nobody knows tomorrow.
Well, do make sure to catch the all-new Isono right here on TV3 after the bulletin. That's 8 p.m. Just make sure that you stay tuned, watch the all-new episode. There's a lot in store for you. And that's how we wrap up on the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noel. I'll be handing over to Portia now.
Thank you so much, Noella.
You didn't hand over to me, only Portia.
No, that's how we. There's already. We already know how you introduce me. I hand over to Portia.
I know, boy.
But have you been watching Isono though?
Yeah, I do actually do.
You like it?
Who are the main characters?
Portia.
They know themselves.
No, but they know themselves, like you said. They know
But it's on at 8 p.m. right after the bulletin. So
okay.
Everybody needs to catch
Please
it.
watch. It's a very exciting program. You've got to watch.
For more entertainment news, do log on to our website, 3news.com. You can also get interactive with us on any of our top stories, facebook.com/TV3Ghana, twitter.com/TV3Ghana. And that's it for News 360. Thank you so much for your time. I am Portia Gabo.
She's Noella, and I am Pakisi. Bye-bye.
I dey go visit some girl for the block here now. The next block for here now. I beg make you give me your car.
Hey! This really so handsome. Look at those soft pink lips. Imagine kissing him.
Which of the ebony condoms do you want?
How are things going between you and Charles? Are you guys back together?
No, I'm trying to focus on myself right now. I don't even want to depend on him for anything.
God! Make officially welcome you boys to this side. Imaraba. I know they speak Dagbani. Telling them small time you been here to Bani.
YOLO, you only live once.
YOLO shows Fridays at 8 p.m. on TV3.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, just like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer with a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.